Good morning, everyone, and welcome to ITTV. We have Anthony Hackett from us on with us right now. Excuse me for stumbling there. All right, and Anthony's from the Aimetis company regarding video analytics, and this is our monthly update. So, Anthony, why don't you take it away?
Great. Well, Happy New Year, Joe, and Happy New Year to everyone else. So we've been chatting over the past few weeks about analytics, what they are, what they do, how they work. And what I thought I would do today in this quick segment is just briefly talk about analytics at the edge. What is it? What some examples are, but maybe even talk about chipset technology and the process of taking an algorithm and planning it on a chip. So the first part is, what is analytics at the edge? What does that mean? To me and to folks here at Aimetis, analytics at the edge is when a camera performs all of the processing to allow an algorithm to reside inside the camera and to perform a specific task. That task can range from anything from people counting to perimeter protection, movement in general, loitering dwell times, object removed would be another example. Without the help of a server or computer. In other words, it runs completely independent of any type of processor technology that could be at the back end. That's kind of the tricky part, and that's where the industry's kind of been in play here for the last 5-6 years. But it's a good way to segue into the actual chipset technology. If you think about analytics, and if you've used analytics in the past, you've used them on servers for sure, and that's where you get the full feature, if you will, of the technology that's available out there. You're not limited in any capacity except for what you throw at the algorithms. In other words, if you have a lot of processing power available, you'll be able to enjoy a full suite of various analytic configurations, alarms, alerts, details, reports, things of that nature. What analytics companies and what the market tries to do is to uncouple a single algorithm. An algorithm could be it's a mathematical equation. It could be several lines of code, if you will, or it could be several pages of mathematical equations, and you try to condense that into a single small chip that resides on a camera. Not an easy task to accomplish. So what has happened over the past 5 or 6 years is the chipset technology, and I would mention particularly Axis's chipset technology that they make on their own, has really improved and increased the ability to offer more gigahertz or more processing power to analytics companies such as Aimetis, so that we can, in theory, port just about any type of algorithm now on a chipset. And as the technology continues to improve across the fruited plain of chips and other things, devices that are out there, the more opportunities there are for analytic algorithms to reside in other types of devices. So if you think about the things that have processing power already built into them, that's an application where analytics someday could reside. It's not an easy process. People just think you just put a developer in a room and cook something up and put it out to the marketplace. If it was that easy, I don't think we'd see as much competition out in the market, actually, because the bigger companies would have gone to work and produced their own technologies. As we see, there are a few players out there. They're all good companies for the most part. But the competition is very fierce, and the first thing you have to do is you have to have a working algorithm that's successful out in the marketplace, first at the server level, because at the server level you can really test the algorithm out and provide performance feedback, provide actual video samples from the field of when things go right, when things go wrong, and continue to modify the application. And then what you do is you take a look at, well, how much processing power is this really consuming? And if the processing power fits within the budget, if you will, of a chipset available on a camera, then you have a win for an analytics at the edge product or application.
Wow. So it does very much as these chipsets get smaller and smaller and smaller, and they're able to handle more and more information. Then obviously the product line in the video analytics is going to get broader and broader and broader.
Oh, that's for sure. And the types of things that we do will serve a variety spectrum of customers across all verticals. So it won't be just security. It could be retail, could be transportation, could be gaming, could be automotive. You know.
And give me some examples, Anthony, just in case somebody's just tuning into this now, and they're saying, okay, what's this Aimetis thing, and who's Hackett, and what's Kincannon talking about, right? Give me some examples. Like one of the things you were describing, I think, was the the bag kind of sitting alone in an airport by itself. Obviously, to the exclusion of all other things, an algorithm can be written to find that bag. Right?
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah. Are you talking about the server level or at the camera level?
Well, I guess first at the server level, right?
That's
because
right.
that's the easiest. That's the easiest way to test that out.
Yeah.
The camera level, it's going to be. I was familiar. The folks over at Axis did tell me that they've got the chipset and puts the intelligence on the camera itself. We've got some ongoing conversations with Axis. We'd really like to see that in play. We'd like to see some examples of that, so that we can actually show people what it's like. But for now, at the server level, there's a lot of things you can do. If you have your cameras pointed at an airfield, you can spot a person who all of a sudden comes onto a tarmac. You can pick that up to the exclusion of all other things, because the cameras are just supposed to be looking for airplanes. They're not supposed to be looking for human bodies, right?
That's right. The exciting thing about moving into the edge is that for people that have existing infrastructures, you can take say like an Axis camera. You can download the application from our website right to that Axis camera, and that's it.
Yeah.
You just run with it from there. So there is definitely an uptime or productivity savings, if you will, where you're just downloading an application. Very similar to what you would do on your iPod or BlackBerry. Just download an application and start working with it. That's the advantage, and being able to use it within any type of whether it's an old analog system that's out in the field and you plug in a new camera, or if it's a state-of-the-art video management solution. All these products can be plugged in now, and as standards kind of evolve, you won't even think about whose products you're using for what. We may have direct competitors, and at some point in time we may be working with them. It sounds kind of crazy, but it's true. When you went to the store and bought your laptop computer, you didn't think twice about the type of printer that you had at home and whether it would work or not. And that's kind of off the tangent on some of the standards and where we're heading. But think about where this is going to play in the realm of analytics, and that everyday solutions or everyday situations could be solved by an algorithm that's running in some type of product out in the field, and it could be something that's not necessarily police or law enforcement related. It could be something to facilitate a business process.
Oh yeah, and I actually found in our talks going back and forth that the non-law enforcement things were actually more engaging for me, because I hear about all the law enforcement things all the time. They're always looking to catch bad guys, build evidence, and things of that nature. Whereas when you were talking about the perfume counter, let's say at Macy's in Herald Square, all right, all of a sudden they've got a camera focused on that. You can actually measure, whether or not the campaign is effective or not. Yeah. All right, that's a whole different application. It's a whole different ball of wax, and I don't know how many people listening really have their hands on that. I guess the same could be said if you had a camera focused in a car dealer's showroom. All right, and you're kind of evaluating the sales process. and what's being said, how it's being said, what parts of the car are being introduced first, to maybe what criteria are people, and the ability of your sales staff to size people up pretty quick.
Yeah, and what's neat about car dealers is they love to look at reports of say heat maps or traffic patterns after hours when the dealership shuts down at night.
Yeah.
When you and I want to go out and look for a car, maybe we want to kick the tires and take a look at things without being heckled. And car dealers know this, and they use our product to figure out which vehicles are the hottest. And what happens if they rearrange where vehicles are situated on the lot? Does that increase sales? And
exactly, what's facing the street, what's in the back, what's off to the side, what happens if they put a red ribbon around something with a do not go near it, and all of a sudden they find 50 people peering into the car. All these little tricks and gimmicks, for merchandising and marketing of products and brands and things like that, as well as examining the effectiveness of employee and staff and engaging prospective clients and things of that nature. Video analytics can come into play in a lot of different areas. We've got just a couple of minutes left here, not even. If I've got a small size corporation where I've a small size deployment, let's say 30 cameras, how do I determine the ROI, the return on investment? All right, with going with video analytics, let's say from the traditional on the server with a camera that's dated to video analytics that's on the camera itself and freeing up some of my server operation. How do I determine that ROI?
Well, the first thing is how big is the pain, right? And determining what the pain is will help calculate the ROI.
Well, so I've got 30 cameras set up, let's say.
And maybe you're paying.
It's a small setup, but it's 30 cameras.
Yeah, maybe they've got some type of an alarm service or guard service that shows up once a month, or more than once a month, every night. Maybe there's a cost to that. With the analytics, you can create a scenario where you're alerting and responding in real time. So let's just say that if they use some type of guard service, even one guard at night, or maybe they don't use a guard service. Our technology is both video management and analytics. So people can buy our technology at less than $100 a camera and have just as good as video management as anybody else in the industry. And maybe have analytics on 4 cameras, let's say, at the exterior. The overall cost of that project, I would love to type this out and have a comparison, but for those 4 analytic cameras, with our software running all 30 cameras would be less than, say, most of the major competitors in the VMS space total cost of project, without requiring any additional server technology, using whatever server comparison they would use, we would use too, and still be able to perform the analytics. One of the reasons for that, and this is something that's kind of unique and exciting to show in the industry, is I've been explaining that you need gigahertz in order to run the analytics. Well, what else out there right now has gigahertz available? In the server, you have CPU that's on the chipset, but you also have gigahertz on the graphics card that's being used, called GPU. And the analytics at Aimetis can be run on the graphics card of the server. And what does that mean? That means without even having to upgrade or increase the CPU of a server, you can run analytics using the graphics card that's already built into the system without any impact into the CPU or processing power of that unit. And that's pretty slick.
Yeah, that is very slick. And you know what? I'm under the pressure of time here. I'd like to get into that more with you at some time, all right? Because that's something I think a lot of people need to understand, is the ability of how all these technologies come into play together that can actually save them money. All right, that's a huge issue. Anthony, thank you very much. I've got John Phelps from Axis plugging away trying to get to me here. He's coming up hard right behind you. All right, have a great day, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Right, bye now.